Oh, hey, you guys. How are ya?
I am amazeballs.
Oh, you might want to have those looked at.
Yeah.
Will do. Thank you, Sharon.
Thank you for bringing them up. Off to another smashing start, you guys. How's your week going?
Well, I had birthday cake.
Yes, you did. How many breaths did you have to take to blow out all those candles, Cal?
You know what sucks is that I'm really bad at blowing out birthday cake candles. I don't
Because
understand.
there's so many.
Well, there is so many. Thanks, Sharon. Let's not tell the exact number though. Um, but I don't know. I always have epic fails when I try to blow out all the candles. And like this one, my better half knew better, so she only put 3 of them on, and I didn't.
Smart.
I got 1.
Come on.
Well, I
Oh,
got 1. I got 1
Kelly.
on breath 1, and then had to take breath 2 and 3 to get the remaining.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
Well, maybe because
I
you don't want to get any spit on the beautiful cake that you got.
Yeah, did you see the cake?
Yeah.
Adam, did you see the cake?
I don't think I did.
Yeah, so I posted it today. So my birthday was a couple of days ago, and it will be more than a couple of days ago by the time this show airs. But
Can I say something?
yes,
I'm pretty sure I missed your birthday because I was convinced it was in April. Why did I think your birthday was in
I don't
April?
know, Adam, because I'm a
And
month.
that's mine.
Yeah, Sharon's
Oh
is April.
no.
Yeah.
Yeah, we left last show. Normally we would have said, hey, we got a birthday coming up, but we didn't.
Yeah.
So now we can stretch out the birthday vibes through this show for Kelly.
Well,
That's right.
happy
Yeah.
belated birthday.
Thanks, Adam.
Woo!
All you have to remember we had this discussion before that you're the 27th of February, then
I am.
I'm on the 26th of March, and then Sharon's the 25th of April. So it's all
Descending, ascending.
yeah, exactly.
This does kind of ring a bell. I'll admit.
Yeah. I would
Especially
like
your
to
birthday.
point out to our audience that Adam is the youngest person on the show and has problems remembering.
I am the worst with birthdays. Like, honestly, I'm terrible. And I apologize to every birthday I will miss.
Is that a boy thing though? I feel like that's a boy thing. I feel boys are bad at remembering birthdays.
I like that I will miss them, he says.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
will miss them. Well,
Confident.
I'm the worst at booking things and then forgetting and then double booking the same evening because I forgot to write it down.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Like, I always just count on my friends to remind me, oh, remember tomorrow we're going this place, or oh, remember this friend invited us for his birthday Saturday. And I'm like, oh, yeah, sure. But I there's no way I know. Like, I remember saying yes to that, but yeah, I'm not good at that. Should be
That's
working on.
funny.
Just before Sharon, just because I wanted to answer this question for any of our audio listeners and our visual listeners. So my cake was a helmet. My it was a replica of my ATV helmet, so my 4-wheeling helmet. So if you'd like to see it, you can check out my Instagram at Kelly Alexander with 2 X's, because Nat and the team at LaSalle Bakery here in Montreal absolutely killed it. And so very proud of this cake, and it was delicious.
And so the whole thing is cake, right?
The whole thing is cake and fondant. And but too, I'm sure you both have had this before where like you may have had, somebody's birthday or maybe your own where the cake looks amazing, but then it tastes god awful
Yeah.
because they've focused the attention on making it look cool, but then the taste is terrible.
Yeah.
LaSalle Bakery is absolutely stunning here. Like the flavor that Elaine chose for me was one I hadn't had before actually from them.
Oh,
It
cool.
was Hershey's, like Hershey's chocolate.
Oh.
And so it was like vanilla and chocolate, business going on. And let me just say that I've basically eaten cake for the last 3 days. Like that's been my breakfast. That has been my lunch.
Well, you can
I've had
justify cake as a meal for sure because there's eggs in it.
Yeah, exactly.
And chocolate is dairy. So
Yeah.
you're fine.
Anyways, so it was delicious. And honestly, the thing, like when you go check out the picture, I'm sure this thing was like 5 pounds at least. It was
Wow.
it was a heavy cake.
It's impressive looking, and I'm happy that it's impressive tasting. I
Yeah.
love how, Adam, have you noticed that she's speaking in past tense about how it tasted
I
Yeah.
know, 'cause she
as
ate
an
it all.
indication that we're not getting any?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
That's
okay. I'm not a big cake fan, so it's
Yeah.
all good.
I like cake, and I like Cake the band.
See, I'm not a fan of either.
No.
Yep.
What is the matter with you?
I think I only know one song from Cake, and it's their cover of that Gloria,
I Will Survive.
Yeah.
Well, you
I
should
prefer
listen
Gloria
to
Gaynor's version.
Okay, well, you should hear Short Skirt, Long Jacket.
Okay.
Oh, I think I've heard that one.
Because the lyrics are clever and kind of not sarcastic, but probably more sardonic. The Distance off the same album that I Will Survive is on. It's worth it.
Okay.
Give it a go.
Maybe I
I know
will.
Cake by the Ocean by DNCE. Thank you.
It's a completely different Keiko
Yeah.
experience. Keiko.
I think Rihanna has a song that's it's called Cake. No, it's called Birthday. Birthday Cake, I think. It
Megan
goes,
Thee Stallion
cake,
has a
cake,
song
cake,
called
cake, 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 cake.
So difficult lyrics.
Yeah.
Megan Thee Stallion and Dua
complex.
Lipa have a song called Sweetest Pie, and it's not really about the pie that you would think about.
I don't
Like
think
a
Rihanna's
a
cake,
rhubarb.
not cake we're talking about either.
Don't wreck pie for me, please.
Yep.
Okay, focus.
What's on the show?
We're going to talk about things that are the things they're supposed to be. Okay, like cake and pie. We're also going to tell you where Snoop Dogg is looking to spend some time, in an ideal world. And by ideal, I mean pretend. We've got more details on another television show that's getting closer to coming through our stream waves. Is that a thing?
We'll
take it. I'm making stuff up as I go along. Kelly's trivia, of course, a 90s rewind that'll take us back to one moment in time in our favorite decade. And also that Madonna's place in the LGBTQ plus community is as strong as ever. So I figure we should start there. There's a lot of news coming out of some backwards principles that are going on in our with some of the states that are friends to the south of us. We are in Canada. And there's some, I mean, completely my opinion, and I think you guys would probably share the idea that banning books, banning conversations about things like, what was another one I heard about? Kids under 11 aren't going to be taught about menstruation. And I mean, nobody wants even to know about menstruation really on a conversational level. Nobody, not even the ones that get it. But it's important to teach the kids that do get it what's going on.
Yeah.
And not all kids get it at the same age. Anyways, there's certain sections of our neighbors to the south of us that are trying to ban that information for a certain age group. It's ridiculous. So the idea then that Madonna says that the oppression of the LGBTQ plus is not only unacceptable and inhumane, it's creating an unsafe environment. It makes America a dangerous place for our most vulnerable citizens, especially trans women of color. So what is she doing to support that, Cal?
Bringing a drag queen.
Yeah. Pretty incredible. I think that too, like the most, I don't know, the most freeing thing we have is our freedom of expression. We are in a time, in a section of the world where we all have a voice and we're allowed to use it. So to have some governmental body saying, no, you don't, is so backwards. It's so many decades ago that it's hard to think that we would be in a place where that is even on the table as part of a conversation. And clearly Madonna feels the same way, which is great.
Mm-hmm.
I find it appalling in the year 2023 that anybody still has anything to say about anybody.
Yeah.
Like if somebody's not hurting somebody, then let them live their life in whatever manner they choose. Like it's not bothering you. It has nothing to do with you. So why are you making it something that it doesn't need to be? I'm literally appalled. And I'm appalled that there's places that all three of us would not be safe going to.
That bothers me too, because it like if you go in thinking, that you're okay anywhere, then you're taken off guard when someone, launches some hate speech at you. You're not prepared for it. And it's crappy to think that anybody should have to go into situations prepared for it. Like, let people be.
Yeah. I just read a story. I follow this, I guess she would be like a lesbian influencer, for lack of a better word, on Instagram. And she just talked about how her and her wife went to, I think it was someplace, I want to say Mexico. I think it's somewhere there. She said that they had a great time, but they were very aware of where they were going to make sure they could be okay. And that they were very certain about if they ventured off, and actually I think they decided not to venture off the property of the resort, but that they were going to, if they had have chosen to do that, they would have very much acted like they were friends.
Right.
And that's it. And she said that she was lucky in the fact that both her and her wife could come off as just friends without suspicion, probably. And that's like terrible, because why can't you be yourself, you know? But she's like, we could have probably flown under the radar. But she's like, we know that there's other couples that might not have had that opportunity. And so
Yeah,
it's just, I don't know, it's stupid. In 2023, it's stupid.
I agree. Life's too short, man. It sounds like a cliche, but most cliches are rooted in some level of clarity. Life is
All
short,
are. Yeah.
Mhm.
you know, like it really
And I'm always
is.
like, what are you so afraid of? You know, that's like, because it's about you. You're making it about you, but it's about fear, really. So it's
Oh
like,
yeah,
what is this person doing that you're so afraid of?
yeah, agreed. It's lame.
Yeah.
Like branch out, man.
Yep.
I don't know. I think that kind of an ignorance is a tough one to battle because it's so old, you know, like it's been around for such a long time that people are almost more comfortable with that
Hmm.
than they are with going, hey, well, that's different. Let's try something different.
Yeah. And I feel so bad for members of the LGBTQ plus community that live in wherever, whether it's a certain section of the our friends to the south, or even some places here in Canada, even though I think for the most part we're more open-minded, but just knowing that in North America there are places where you cannot be yourself, it will go badly for you, like you might die.
And it's not, it's people that are policing themselves. So they're
Mhm.
taking it upon themselves to let you know that what you believe is wrong because that what they believe is supremely more right. It's ludicrous. Now,
Mhm.
the idea that Madonna is going to be in Nashville, which is a place that in Tennessee there's an anti-drag bill that restricts, quote, adult cabaret performances, which includes, quote, topless dancers, go-go dancers, exotic dancers, and strippers, male or female impersonators as well. So that's why Madonna's bringing Bob the drag queen with her on her tour. And yes,
I
they will be
love Bob
performing
the
in
drag queen.
Bob the
Love
drag queen.
Bob.
And what they'll do is that a portion of the proceeds from the Nashville show will go to various organizations that support that community. Because just because you don't like it or you're trying to ban it doesn't mean that the community ceases to exist.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's important work as usual. Madonna is taking on something
Yeah.
big in a fierce kind of way and
Yes,
sending a clear
the
message.
Queen, I think, is the best drag queen name I've heard. And there's been, there's so many good ones, right? Like, I'm sure if Adam quickly Googled them, he'd come up with all kinds of double entendres or whatever, right? But just Bob the drag queen, it's like, it's just like, here it is. Here I am.
This is what I'm doing.
Here's Bob.
Yeah, it's true. I like that. I like it. I'm looking forward to Madonna's tour. It will stop in our neck of the woods. I don't remember when. We've got a lot of concerts on our horizon this year.
August 19th.
Thank you very much. Oh, yes, you got your tickets
Because I'll
before
be
anybody.
Yeah.
Isn't that her, when's her birthday? Isn't it the 19th or 18th? It's something like,
She is was it the 16th?
It is the 16th.
there we go.
And I think that when's Michael Jackson's is the 19th or 20th or something. Because hers is the 16th. Sean Penn's is the 17th. I remember that because they were married. And then Michael Jackson's was the 19th or 20th.
The 29th, actually.
Or the 29th.
Or
One
that.
day in this
Catherine
year.
Zeta-Jones and Michael Douglas are also born on the same day.
Are they?
Yes. So, many years apart, but yes.
25, I
same
believe.
day. Wow.
Yeah.
September 25 would be the date.
Also, happy belated birthday to the one and only Elton John. His birthday is the day before mine. And Mariah Carey, March 27th.
Too many
yeah.
birthdays. Oh my God.
Yeah. And Lady Gaga, March 28th. So there's lots of Aries superstars.
And Adam forgot them all.
Yeah.
Wait, aren't you, Kelly? Aren't you a Pisces?
No.
Oh.
Well, you're failing on all levels tonight, Adam.
So you're Aries, right?
Yes. Mhm.
Yes.
And somebody actually asked me today, they're like, are you like a true Aries? I'm like, oh, just go read the list of characteristics and I tick them all off. So
What's Aries in French?
Bélier.
Oh, thank you.
Cool.
Actually,
I
Not
have
anybody cares, but I did want to know. So
my wife is an Aries. I'm a Taurus,
yeah.
and they have very similar / stubborn qualities to them. Kelly, we know.
Yeah.
And no offense to you, but what I say the difference between me and Deb is that she thinks she's right. I know I am. That's the level of confidence that the Taurus has over the Aries.
Right.
and that is exactly how trivia goes here at 90s Now as well.
There we go.
I think I know. Kelly knows.
Yeah.
90s Now. Trivia.
Bing bong.
Bing bong.
As per usual, we'll start with the art and literature, or something that's it's either usually art and literature or news and politics. Those are the heavy ones.
Literature.
Literature. So we'll start with that. And the question is, the Mild West is a wall mural in Bristol, England that was created by which artist in 1999?
Sharon.
Go, Sharon.
Cool Modi. Oh, sorry, that's Wild Wild West. Wow, wow.
Yeah, no, not that guy.
Was it the Campbell guy? Like, you know, the one that did the Campbell soup?
Oh,
Andy Warhol.
That's the one I'm looking for.
yeah.
Was that Andy Warhol?
It is not. No,
Oh,
it
He
is,
died in the 80s.
Banksy.
really?
Oh,
Yeah.
Banksy, of course.
Yeah.
I thought
Yeah.
Warhol was a lot more
Alive.
closer to our time. Yeah.
He's
So.
a lot more dead than you knew.
Yeah. What year did he die, Sharon? Do you know?
I want to say 84 or 8.
Adam's on it.
I'm on it. He died in 87.
See, it was in the middle.
There you go. So this now falls under hobbies, toys, and games. And I'll be very,
Ooh.
very impressed if any of you get it. Although Adam, again, was a 4-year-old at this juncture, probably.
Very impressed if any of us get it.
Yeah.
This is clearly an indication that you pick questions you don't want us to get.
I know, right?
I pick questions from the cards, is what I do.
Oh, okay.
Which collectible 90s toy had kids flicking plastic molded monsters at each other?
Sharon.
Go ahead.
Pog.
Didn't you say that for another time? Like,
This was closer to the description of what I remember a pog being.
okay.
Hogs. No?
No. Go, Adam.
So what are they doing with that toy?
So the kids are flicking
Yeah.
plastic molded monsters at each other. And for our audio listeners, I was doing a flicking motion.
It really helped.
You're welcome.
The visual aid really
Yeah.
next level this whole experience.
Were they miniature Furbies or something?
Nope. Go-Go's Crazy Bones.
What is that?
Never heard of it in my life.
Imagine that. They've created a toy that you are encouraged to throw at your brother, your sister,
Yeah.
your friend. Get a handful, whip it at him.
Sharon, do you remember this toy that came out? You would have been like, I don't think playing with it. Although I think it was cool enough that you would have been like, oh, let me try. So I would have been maybe like 12. So early 90s.
Yeah.
And it looked like a planet where it's like, it was this round ball that had this plastic thing around it. Like it literally looked like Saturn or whatever. And you put your feet on it. And so the ball was, you wrapped your feet around this ball and then you would jump like a pogo thing.
Yeah.
I got one for Easter, I think, and I killed that thing. It was so much fun. And who knew you were getting all this cardio exercise like in there, but I forget what they were called, but they literally were like the coolest rage for like a year maybe.
Do you think you could do it as an adult?
I think so. I don't know if I could go on as long, but
Well, that's what you said.
Yeah.
Oh, hey,
yeah. Although somebody said it in karate class last night, they're like, happy birthday, Kelly. Like, we're another year older. I'm like, listen here, I'll still kick your ass. So
nice one. One toy I remember especially I gave to my nephew one Christmas was Bop It.
Oh, yes.
I
Mm.
love that one. I
Mm.
love
I've
that
never
one.
played. I've seen people play, but
It's addictive and competitive. You
I
buy
would
it for a
be so
kid and
good
you're
at
like, let me have my turn. You can play with it later. It is really fun though.
Yep.
She said, looking like a junkie. It is fun though.
What are the 3 words? It's like bop it, push it, and
Pull it,
pull it.
twist it, flick it.
Oh,
And then if you get it all wrong, you throw it.
Yep.
Bop it,
that's another option.
flick it, twist it.
It.
And the whole group, you're with people, everybody's like, you're doing it. You're getting it. It's great. And then, yeah, you get frustrated and throw it
Yep.
across the room. Family fun. All right, we put the toys away
Yep.
and back to serious business, which is this show. And that Snoop Dogg is hoping to make some travel plans to a place that you might not expect.
This really floored me, but then didn't all at the same time.
Coronation Street.
Yeah.
I think if any place needed Snoop Dogg, it is Coronation Street.
Yep.
Does your better half watch this show?
We used to be on a kick several years ago, and then we stopped.
Kick?
We were like watching it way too much, and so we've backed
Because it's
off.
on every day,
Yeah, it's on every day. And
right? It's
I'm mostly addicted by the theme song. Do you have that problem? Like, I love the theme song.
Yeah.
I think it's because
Yeah.
I like big band music, so that's why I really like that theme song, and it makes me feel nostalgic for when I was like maybe 8 or 9 years old, and I used to watch it when I was a kid. So
I like the idea that isn't it the longest running soap?
I think so.
I love that. I love that there's such history. I love that the Queen visited the set
Hmm.
within the last couple of years of her life. I love that.
It's crazy.
But I do not like at all how some of the storylines are so real, like too real. You know, like I want to watch a soap opera and I wanted to have some fun and maybe a bit of fluff to it, but when it gets into like, you know, sex trafficking or you know, blackmail of a senior citizen or, you know, brainwashing of a woman by an abusive husband, like it's really real.
Hmm.
I'm like, and Deb watched it. I'm like, I can't, like, I just cannot.
Yeah, I think that's why it's been on for however many years, is because it's so relatable.
I guess, but,
Yeah.
and I guess
I know
it's
'cause-
important to educate people that these dark things happen in the world.
Mhm.
I just don't like it.
Yeah, I know, because for example, it was just the 50th anniversary of The Young and the Restless. Funny
Mhm.
enough, on my birthday, so 'cause
Cool.
it aired on, I guess it was 1973. Yeah, that's it. And so they did a whole huge thing on it, which was amazing. And it's amazing to think that soap has been around for 50 years. But like when you watch, like I still tape it every day and I watch it when I work out. And what I love about that soap is, yeah, it's obviously based around rich people. So there's that element to it already where, you know, like that could never be me. But then it's also, there is like, I remember once having one of the actors on the show that I produced in Toronto because they did a whole breast cancer storyline. And it
Mm.
was so, and I think that's what soaps are good about, is like they often bring to the forefront things that might not have been dealt with yet. And when she did this storyline years ago, it was so real because so many women were like, oh my God, I understand this. I went through this, or my aunt went through this, or my grandma. So I think soaps really in the past were about pushing forward things that you might not have seen on nighttime TV at the time.
Right. And that's funny that that's the thing that that Snoop Dogg likes about Corey, as it's known to its fans. He says the reality. He loves the cinematography, the acting, the storyline, but just the reality. And he says he'd like to be a part of it because they've been a part of his culture, which is interesting. He also expressed his affinity and respect for the Queen, who he says spoke up for him when he might have been banned from going to the UK back in the day during those murder charges, those pesky murder charges. He was acquitted on those charges, or acquitted of those charges. So as a result, he says that he's had an impact on their culture just as theirs has affected him. So he'd like to visit the set, or maybe, you know, whatever they could write for him. He says he's down. I'm in.
And he also said that Prince Harry and Prince William were fans, right? So that's,
yeah, which is likely what contributed to the Queen being, speaking on his behalf.
Yeah.
Pretty wild. Pretty wild that Snoop Dogg is the cultural icon, not just a musical icon, but that he's this reference point. Would you have ever thought, like going back to 1993, let's say, that Snoop Dogg would have been the bridge to whatever sort of social peace like this?
Well, just him and Martha Stewart, right?
That.
In a million years, you would have never thought those two would hook up to do a show, and
it works.
And
but
it works.
And they're a great example of, you don't have to have the same backgrounds or the same futures or the same whatever to get along. We can all get along.
And I love how he, like bridges the gap to so many different cultures.
Yeah.
Like everybody loves Snoop.
It's true.
He also has the best tracksuits on the planet, by by Yeah.
He is living his best retirement outfitted life.
Yeah.
And
he's been doing it since he was like 20.
The whole time. Exactly. He's ready in his velveteen.
Yeah.
Crushed velour.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, we talked about a television show that's coming back, and we've been talking about it for a while, actually, but Frasier is going to be streaming on, is it Paramount Plus?
Paramount Plus, but the big news in that article, did you see the big news in that article?
Which part of the big news?
Well, about who's joining
someone? Yes.
Because that was like the best part, because we knew it was coming, whatever, but then when they announced this news, I was like over the moon.
And I think this is a very important element, because they talked about how there's a character named Freddie, who I think they referred to as Frederick when he was the baby. So that's Frasier's son. There will be a nephew, an old friend from college. But ultimately, it's the great news about Bebe Neuwirth coming back as Lilith. Yay!
She's so because I recently started watching this show about Julia Child, like I think it's on Netflix, and
isn't it great?
It's so good, and she's on that show.
Yes, she is. Yes,
and
I watched it.
The show's been out for a year, by the way, so I'm super behind. I realize this, but it just reinforced how amazing she is. And then I got the news about her going to Frasier, and I was like, oh my God, like I'm so excited to see her on this show, and I cannot wait to have her back, because she killed Lilith. Like, killed it as Lilith. So it's tight, that tight bun that she had in her hair, like just.
It's amazing. There's a channel here that gives us old television shows that we've been watching lately, and Cheers is on every day.
Okay.
And her character on Cheers like the introduction to Frasier would have been on Cheers, but when they first got together, they were so like similar and didn't have any sort of like click to them, right? Mm-hmm. But then he sort of looked away for a second, and she took her hair down, and then he was like, oh. And it was that moment of her sort of becoming less rigid that he was like, there it is, So I think it'll be cool to see how the characters have grown.
It's amazing too, if you think back to Cheers, how many strong women they had on that show, and it all worked, right?
Yeah.
Like, it just like right from Diane, Shelley, and then why am I forgetting her name now? Kirstie
Alley.
Kirstie Alley.
Yeah.
Rhea Perlman staying on the whole time, and then Bebe Neuwirth. Like it was sick.
Interestingly, on this channel is also Dynasty. Did we talk about that last week?
Mm-mm.
Or have we talked about it? I find it like it's scarring because it's not good.
Yeah.
It's early 80s, and now it's on every day. So it's not intended to be watched in a binge fashion.
Yeah.
So it really highlights how not good a lot of the elements of the show were. And no offense to anybody, it was 1981. I get it.
Yeah.
But if I may just impart a memory from a scene from Alexis Carrington, who is having sex with Cecil Colby in an awkward and way too long sex scene, and awful music playing underneath. It was sloppy and like, what's happening? And then he starts having chest pain, and she's on top of him again. I mean, you just see their heads right at that point. And he says, oh, I can't breathe. And she starts smacking his face back and forth. Cecil, don't you die on me. It was alarming. The exact opposite of sexy. I'm like, you're gonna kill him. You think you're saving him, but legit, more than a few times was the backhand, forehand, smacking. Don't you die on me, Cecil. It was awful, and I needed to get that out of my system.
You know who's gonna love that reenactment? Rachel.
Ooh, Rachel. It was
Rachel.
brutal.
Yeah. I think Caroline will also enjoy that, as will Shane. Shane. Yeah.
And scene.
And scene. Yeah. Now I can't get that out of my head. So thanks, Sharon.
Oh my gosh. It's like I've been telling people like how bad it is. And someone finally said, and you're still watching? I'm like, yeah.
Well, I think I told you guys before, I used to love Dukes of Hazzard as a kid. Like I just loved it. And I would like to preface that as a child, I did not understand the Confederate flag. So I just, so I didn't know. So I apologize now in advance, but I love the show. And when I was in college, university, it came back on, like you said, in one of those repeat kind of shows. And I actually watched 1 or 2 episodes and I turned it off because I knew better at this point what the flag meant.
Right. Yes.
And also, I couldn't believe how bad it was. And so I wanted to leave my childhood memories intact of when I was just in love with Tom Wopat. So
yeah,
it's
like, true.
Yeah.
I had a picture of John Schneider on my desk when I was like 12.
Yeah. And you know what's funny is you were either a Bo fan or a Luke fan. And I was in love with the dark-haired boy, Mr. Tom Wopat. So yeah. And once I was so in love with him, I remember like touching the TV screen because I was pretty little and I just thought he was so cool. And then my mom was like, "What's wrong with you?" So,
and that's how she became
I cried
gay.
because I said to her, "I'm like, I'm gonna meet him one day," and she's like, "No."
Did you?
I have not, but I should actually, now that I have my own show, I should reach out, get him on the big show. Although I think there was some some controversy, so I'm not sure we'll do that. But anyways,
controversy about
I think if Adam was to Google that, I feel that there was some Tom Wopat controversy a few years back. So I might be wrong, so that's why I'll say allegedly, because I'm not sure.
Allegedly. I wish there was some portmanteau for that. For a Wopat controversy, a Wopaversary, you know?
Yeah. Was there any controversy, Adam?
He pleaded guilty to annoying women.
There we are.
What? What the heck does that mean?
Okay, he pleaded guilty to 2 counts of annoying and accosting a person of the opposite sex and was sentenced to 1 year of probation.
Wow.
I thought there was a something.
Clearly.
Maybe
So annoying women.
There were 2 females cast in a musical he did. And that was in 2018.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, she knew something, eh, Kel?
Yeah, exactly.
Mommy Alexander spared you.
Yeah.
It
wasn't her just crushing my dream.
You guys ready for
he was accused of other things that he was trained of, but still.
Yeah.
Wow.
He was on a show too, like I think maybe the year or 2 before that. Like he was on a primetime show. I can't remember what it was, but I remember thinking at the time, oh, that's cool to see him back like doing. And he was on Broadway for a long time, I think, too. In Annie Get Your Gun, I think it was.
Well, I think
you really know your Tom Wopat.
Sharon, I was in love. Yep. Which is so funny knowing where I'm at today, not in that community or batting for that team, but loved him. Yeah. Your
commitment to any relationship, Kelly, is nice because you're all in.
Yeah. I was all in at the time of I think I was 7. Yeah. Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah. Ready for your rewind anytime you
are
ready.
Okay. Let's get to it. It's what's interesting about the handful of songs we'll talk about today that takes us back to around this time in 1992 is that there's 3 subjective statements and a couple of directives for our 90s rewind today. Subjectively, did we discuss this last week? It's Shawnee's and I Love Your Smile.
Yep.
I love that song.
Yeah.
Right Said Fred and I'm Too Sexy. They
Oh.
were too sexy. It's
They were
true.
too,
Sexy woman. Too
Isn't
sexy.
that the song that Beyonce just sampled in Renaissance? Was it Right Said Fred
Did
track?
she?
Maybe. I don't remember.
Making out on Google a lot today.
Googly. One
Yeah.
more subjective reference though comes from a band that when you think of our favorite decade, not that they didn't belong because they certainly did, but it also proved their staying power because they started late 60s, early 70s, had like a progressive rock journey through that decade into the 80s, and certainly with Genesis and I Can't Dance from around this time in 1992.
Love it.
Makes sense because that's the 90s, man. The directive tune that came and actually at this time was topping the charts came from Vanessa Williams and Save the Best for Last, because sometimes the snow falls down in June or comes down in June, and we don't want that. We just don't. We like the song. We don't want your weather systems. And the final directive to wrap up your 90s Rewind is Make It Happen with Mariah Carey, of course.
Birthday
and
girl.
happy birthday to her.
Yeah,
Yay.
53.
Wow.
Yep.
I've
so
got
we
some updates. Just before we move along, I've got some updates on Right Said Fred.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
They were claiming Beyonce sampled I'm Too Sexy, but I don't think that's Beyonce addresses erroneous sampling rumors.
Oh, okay. Got it. Oh, you know what it was? It was Robin S.'s Show Me Love that she definitely did. And
Yeah,
that's
that she did.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
Before we wrap up, a listener question.
Ooh, yes.
So the
Go ahead, caller.
The question is, which, artist from the 90s that is having a heyday in the 90s would you like to go out for dinner with?
Oh.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
There are a lot.
Mm-hmm. This is a tough
In the
one.
90s, like it could be, I'm gonna go with Madonna because she
Okay.
was having fun in
Yeah.
the 90s.
I feel you'd have a good conversation with Madonna, Sharon.
I think we'd be oot and a boot.
Yeah.
We'd be on the dance floor dancing to old school jams.
Yeah.
We'd be out for dinner somewhere nice. It would just be go, go, go. And suddenly, we'd go out on a Thursday night, let's say, and suddenly it would be Sunday.
Would you do those upside down sambuca shots like you talked about in last week's episode?
Kelly, I don't mean to correct you, but upside down flaming sambuca shots.
Right. Got it.
Fire from your mouth.
Got it. Yeah.
Things you didn't tell your mother when you got home.
Yeah.
What'd you do
What's funny
tonight?
is I remember when Rosie O'Donnell said in an interview once that she knew her and Madonna would be friends, and then
Yeah.
like that they would be good friends, and then she like manifested it because they are and remain
Mhm.
friends. So I think that's cool. Adam, do
I
you
like
have your answer?
I don't, because I don't have anything better than Madonna, but I don't want to say Madonna because
Well,
that-
you could. I mean, it would be 2 separate weekends.
well, it's hard. Yeah,
You can have your
all hang out
own.
together.
Yeah.
I can find a better answer.
Okay.
I can't.
How about you, Kel?
Unsurprisingly, I'm not allowed to choose Janet. So
You're not allowed to choose Janet?
no, because everybody knows that that's who it would be. So for sure, Janet, obviously. But I think I would love to. I would love to have dinner with Mariah Carey.
Yes.
Yeah, she would be cool. We could make it happen together. And
Ooh.
then just to fulfill the Kelly dance kid, I would love to have like a girls' dinner with Crystal Waters and Cece Peniston and Robin S. and Martha Wash.
Oh, that'd be fun.
Yeah, that'd be a fun dinner.
I'd also like to have dinner with George Michael.
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
Because I think, if we could get him in the 90s and just let him know that things are good and he's good, maybe things would be different.
Yeah. If there's anyone who could have righted the ship, Sharon, it would be you.
Cal, that's nice.
It's true though, because we just before we started talking or recording, and I'll say this, Sharon gave me the best "You're turning 30" speech when I turned 30, not that long ago.
She was turning 40 and I gave her my 30 speech.
And like Sharon definitely changed my outlook on it, and then I think helped manifest that it went well. And
Wow.
So yeah, so that's why Sharon is known, AKA, as Kelly's life coach, the life coach I didn't know I needed and or wanted, but got it.
You're welcome. Unwanted advice
Yeah,
right here.
I'm the Taurus. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways,
Ah.
me have a good week.
Yes. Thanks everybody for being a part of our conversation and for floating questions. Those are thinker questions, man, because we can answer something as we did and then think, but I also want this.
Yeah.
And that's the fun part about I think about those scenarios, that there are rules, but are there really rules?
Yeah.
No, we get to keep answering.
Yep.
So keep them coming. Find us on socials. We'd appreciate that. And thanks to Kel for combing through those things and bringing us the fun stuff for the show. And wherever it is that you find us, whether it's visual or audio, we appreciate you very much. Thank you for listening to 90s Now. Still happening.